Hi beautiful, welcome to my channel. In today's video we are going to be going over all 5 of the foundations I tried during the month of January. I'm going to tell you exactly what I liked and what I didn't like about each one of these. I'm going to show you images of how they wore on my skin, and I will be also ranking them from worst to best. So if you want to find out which one is ultimately the best foundation I tried this month, then just go ahead and keep on watching. Let's start by talking about my skin, because I feel like foundations perform better or worse depending on what skin they are catered towards. And I personally have very dry skin, especially during this time of year. It's winter, it is cold, it is dry. I currently have very dry cheeks, extremely dry skin right here around my mouth area, and my forehead for the most part really always remains kind of like normal, and it does get a little bit glowy kind of in the center throughout the day. So that is where I'm at with my skin. And another thing to note is that because my skin is super dry, I always use a heavy, thick, glowy moisturizer underneath my foundations so that they wear better, so that my skin is hydrated when I put them on. And if you do not wear moisturizer underneath your foundation, I don't know what you're doing, but you should. Definitely should. Before you prime, if you prime, before you put on foundation, you need to have hydrated skin. That is the #1 game changer. My personal favorite for my super dry skin has been, for now, 3 to 4 years, Magic Cream. I can't stop using it. Magic Cream is thick, it's rich, it's anti-aging, and it makes for the perfect base for makeup. It also has primer built in, so whenever I tried these foundations throughout this month, I didn't want to add on another primer on top. I wanted to just kind of wear the moisturizer and test the foundation right on top and see how it wore that day, so that I wouldn't have a third element to have into consideration, if that makes sense. With all of that out of the way, the worst foundation I for sure tried this month is this right here. This is the Jaclyn Cosmetics Skin Perfecting Blurring Tint, which technically some people claim is not a foundation, it's more meant to be used as a primer. I honestly think the primer thing is a whole bunch of like bull. I feel like it just is a very sheer coverage foundation. They tried to make another purpose for it. I personally am judging it as a foundation skin tint type of a product, and when I tell you this was just not good, I feel like this is not only the worst complexion product I tried this month, but the worst complexion product I've ever tried, unfortunately. It has a sheer coverage and a glowy finish. Now I can't explain it because it claims to be like a glowy hydrating type of product. I do see the glowy finish that it has, but it's like added glow into the product. I did not feel that at any moment this hydrated my skin. In fact, at some points throughout the day my skin looked glowy but dry at the same time. Like I could see the makeup breaking up on my face, I could see little crumbles throughout my skin, yet it still looked glowy somehow. So maybe it has some sort of like highlighting product in there that makes it glow like that, but it is not a hydrating product by any means, in my opinion. The other issue I had with this one was the color selection on the website. They claim to not have come out with a lot of colors because it is a sheer type of a product, and technically, you know, like one color can work for multiple different complexions. Yet I feel like this didn't only happen to me. Everybody pretty much that I saw apply this product on their face, I felt like the tint was off. Like nobody that I saw review this product had a true match to the color that they got. Everybody looked paler or more yellow or just different from their regular skin tone, if that makes sense. And then last but certainly not least, and what was the most alarming thing to me, is that, you know, some products are not buildable in the sense that you can add more, but you don't really see it building up on top of the product. Like the coverage doesn't intensify as you build it up, and that is okay. However, with this product right here, when you try to build it up, it becomes this goopy mess on your face that creates the biggest patches of product or goop, in my opinion. I don't know. I tried to do it using a sponge, and the sponge was taking off the product from some areas on my face and then gooping it up on some other areas of my face, which was just bizarre, to say the least. I ended up blending it all out, leaving it with a very sheer coverage. It gave me that glowy finish that kind of looked dry and crumbly at the same time. I finished my makeup, did the whole thing, wore the product for 12 hours, and all I can tell you is, even if I disregard all of the issues I had with it to begin with, it's still a product that I don't recommend, because I feel like you can get a sheer tinted type of product that performs so much better than this one for probably a fraction of the price. So unfortunately, this was just like not a good launch in my opinion, which is kind of sad because I love Jaclyn Hill. I have watched her videos for years on end and I really want to see her succeed. Like, I'm honestly rooting for her. I want her to do well, but at the end of the day, I'm also a makeup reviewer who has her own channel, and I'm always honest with you guys when it comes to everything I review on here, and this was just not a good launch. Okay, so moving on from this product to product number 4, and there is a huge gap in between 5 and 4 because 5 was just a product that did not work. I do not recommend, and the top 4 products I'm going to talk about are all good in their own way, just some of them worked for me better than others, if that makes sense. So at number 4, I have this right here. This is the new Beautiful Skin Foundation from Charlotte Tilbury. This was easily the product that I was the most excited about trying this month. We had been seeing little sneak peeks of it for a couple months now, and I was thrilled when I finally was able to buy it and try it and review it for you guys. Now, unfortunately, I'm not in love with it. It's okay, I can wear it, but I do have other products that I like much better in my collection. My main issue with it is I don't like thick products on my face. I prefer things that are watery, that are thinner, that dry down immediately, that blend right in, and I had a few little difficulties with this one which made me not love it. It has a really beautiful glowy finish to it. It does claim to blur out your pores, which I personally don't agree with. It's totally okay. I expected it to kind of not blur out your pores because it does have this intense glow to it, which would make it very difficult for a foundation to be blurring and very glowy at the same time. So I don't agree that it blurs out your pores, but I do really like the glowy finish that it gives you. However, I was expecting a much thinner type of product. This is a pretty thick formula, which on my super dry skin can sometimes become a little too apparent. I think that's why I like the thinner formulas, because they just work better with my dryness. Besides that, the formula doesn't set or dry down right away. It has this kind of long period of time when you apply it. When it's very sticky to the touch, it feels wet and it's not quite drying down immediately, which causes all sorts of trouble for me. To begin with, it feels heavy and uncomfortable on my face, which I don't love. But also, let's say you go in with a bronzer that is a little bit too dark for you, it will be difficult to blend it out and blend it into the rest of your makeup, because this being a little sticky still and not setting down right away will grab to that powder product and not let it move super easily. So in a certain way, I feel like it just makes everything a little bit more complicated. Overall, I am being extremely detailed with everything I am speaking about. It's not a bad product. I've definitely tried worse, but because it has all these little issues, it's also not a new favorite for me and not a product that I see myself using all the time, because I have a lot of other foundations in my collection that I prefer over this one. So at number 4, we had the Beautiful Skin Foundation from Charlotte Tilbury. Now, my number 3 and 2 spots are so close. I really like both of these products, and they kind of perform pretty similarly to me, to the point where I wanted to wear all of these products a few times before I sat down to film this video so that I could truly experience them, and I couldn't make up my mind on which one I like better, if the Dior foundation or the Nars foundation. So I wore them side by side one day so that I could truly see what they look like on my skin next to one another and compare the differences to ultimately come up with a conclusion. And I concluded that at number 3 I have this foundation here. This is the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation. Now, it was hard to me to put this one third, because when I first apply the two foundations, this one versus the Dior, I prefer the Nars one. The Nars one is thinner, it has this really glowy finish, it has a light medium coverage, the color looks good. I have mine in the color Vienna. When I first applied this product, it is perfection, everything I want in a foundation: glowy, thin, sets right away, it makes my skin look hydrated, it covers my redness, like everything about it is perfect. However, and this might be something that applies to me specifically and not people with normal combination or oily skin, this foundation changes on my skin kind of right away. And I've seen a lot of people say that the color changes a lot. I don't think the color changes on me a lot, to be honest. What changes is the finish of it and the texture of it. After I've been wearing it for maybe 20 minutes or so, it doesn't really even take that long, all around the dry areas of my face, the foundation kind of starts breaking up a little bit. It looks dry and crumbly, which is not a good look for me for sure. It's not really bad because it's such a thin foundation that it's not like super noticeable like from far away, but if I get close to a mirror, I do see that it's kind of dry and crumbly, especially right around my mouth area, which is my driest area. This might be a foundation that I'm totally able to work with during the spring and summertime when it's a little bit more humid and my skin's a little bit less dry, but at the moment being, during winter time, it changes on me. It gets a little bit too dry around my mouth area, which is a shame because I absolutely love the way it looks otherwise, and so for that reason this one came in at number 3. And at number 2 I have this one here. This is the newly reformulated Dior Forever Skin Glow Foundation. I have mine in the color 2 Neutral, and this foundation gives me consistency. So I put it on. It's not the thinnest foundation, but it's not thick by any means. It feels very weightless on my face. It blends out like a dream. It sets right away. I'm able to blend everything I want to blend on top of it easily. It really gives me no trouble. The only reason it came second and not first is because it is a little bit thicker than the first one I'm about to mention, and so therefore I can kind of see my skin texture a little bit more with this one rather than the one we have at first place. But it doesn't get dry on me throughout the day, it doesn't change texture, it doesn't get crumbly. It just has the same consistency from the beginning, which I really appreciate because I know exactly, you know, how it will wear throughout the day. I know that I don't have to worry about touching up, and so for that reason this is almost my favorite foundation I tried this month. I think it is absolutely worth it. If the one at the first spot is a bit too expensive, I would definitely go for this one. They're both luxury foundations and they both perform amazingly. There's just the most minute difference between the two that makes me like this one a little bit less, and it's just that because it's a little bit creamier, a little bit of a thicker consistency, I can see my skin texture a teeny tiny bit more with it. Keep in mind that when I'm talking about all of these differences, this is me looking like really close at a mirror, trying to like really figure out what I like better. This might not be things that you can tell from just looking at me or talking to me in person, you know, but I just try to be as detailed as I can in the differences that I find between all of these foundations, because ultimately like they're all pretty nice. But at the end of it all, I want to tell you why I like some more than others and why I have an ultimate winner. And my ultimate winner is this one right here. Unfortunately, this is the most expensive foundation I tried during this month of January. It is the number one, the Chanel foundation, available exclusively at Chanel and Ulta. I bought mine from Ulta. My color is B20 and this foundation retails for $70, which is a little bit more expensive than the ones we've talked about so far. However, this right here is a little bottle of perfection. I still haven't tested it out against my like all-time favorite foundations, like the Pat McGrath one, for example. I haven't tested them out side by side, but what I can tell you is that it is pretty close to perfect on me. I love the way it blends out. I can apply it with a brush, with a sponge, with my hands. It doesn't matter. It looks perfect every time. I've worn this one probably a handful of times already, and every time it is absolute perfection. I love that it has a natural to glowy finish to it, and it is so thin that it looks and feels undetectable on the skin. It also doesn't get dry on me throughout the day, which is definitely a huge plus for my dry skin. I feel like the color is perfect. It is the one that I am wearing right now. There's literally not a bad thing that has happened to me with this foundation yet. I love the natural to glowy finish. I love the medium coverage. I love how thin it is. I love how it sets right away. I love how everything blends on top of it. I love how it doesn't change or get dry on me throughout the day. So it is simply perfection, and this would absolutely be the foundation that I would recommend getting if you've been kind of looking at all the reviews I've been doing and trying to figure out which one you want. If you have dry skin like me, if you like thin undetectable foundations, this right here is the one that I would recommend. If you need help matching yourself, because I know that Chanel foundation numbers can be a little bit tricky online, know that I am B20, and that when Chanel foundation numbers end in 0, like B20 to 0, the 0 means that it is a neutral undertone. If I were to have picked out 21, then the 1 means that it is a yellow undertone, and if I were to have picked out 22, the 2 means that it is a cool or rose undertone. Then 20, 30, 40, 50, that is just the level of depth of the Chanel foundation. So I really hope that helps. Besides that, definitely try and like look at pictures of swatches or models wearing the foundation. That also always helps me. But yeah, the winner for sure, the new number one, the Chanel foundation, and I could not recommend it enough. I am of course leaving you links to all of these foundations down below in the description box of this video. So if you're interested in getting any of these, please use the links I'm leaving you down below in the description box, and that way you are helping out my channel. I think that is all I have for today's video. I really hope that you guys liked it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you back in the next video. Bye!